Hello, everyone, and welcome to October 22nd regular legislative meeting of Town of Vegreville. I will start this meeting by looking for a motion to adopt the agenda as printed here. Councillor Lemko makes the motion. Is there any additions or deletions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Next, I'll need a motion to adopt the minutes of our last regular meeting. Councillor Warwa makes the motion. Is there any errors or omissions within those minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Okay. We have a delegation here today, Dale and Gladys Menzak from Dale's Auction Services. And I'll give you a little bit of background on why they're here. Last week, Dale contacted me about he's seen our online auction at the museum posted, and he wanted to know why he was not considered, why his business was not considered for that job. And he went on to ask a few questions, and I want everybody to know that Dale and Gladys are fairly upset with Council's decision not to include them in the process. So I will try to answer as many questions as I can for you folks today. The first question was, who on Council or admin has it out for you? Well, I've asked everybody, and I want you both to know that there is no bias in this Council or in the admin towards either one of you. When it comes to your business, I don't think there's one member of Council or admin that doesn't know what you two do for nonprofits in this town on a constant basis and do not charge for your services. The third question that you asked, Mr. Menzak, was if we're promoting shop local, why are we not following those rules? You asked if we were communist. I think the correct word would have been hypocrites, not communist. But I went on. You asked me what was the criteria, and I said we were looking for somebody who had an online presence, somebody that was been in a situation like this before, either a museum sale or something towards that is what the criteria was. That being said, I don't really know why we dropped the ball, but in our process of trying to make the right decision, we made a very poor decision not to look in our own backyard. Your business should have been included in the process. There's no reason that we shouldn't have. But I want you to know that it's not in a bias towards you. It was a process that we made a bad decision in. We have policies in all of our departments and in Council that when we make decisions, it should be based on very, what's the word I'm looking for? Sustainable practices. How does it fall in to inclusivity? And what's the long-term outlook environmentally? We have these policies in place, but we don't have a policy on how we deal with local businesses when we're looking for goods or services. So I'm here to tell you that we made a bad decision. And it's not a decision of anybody else in this organization. The fault lays with this council by not including you, your business, in this process. I know that you feel, and I agree, you should feel that we let you down in this process. That being said, I can't change the decision that was made. But what we can do is try to do a better job moving forward by putting some policy in place that it's not to say that everything we do will go to a local business, because that can't be. I mean, price makes a difference, good standing with the town, our past experiences with businesses, but we are going to put a policy in place in how we deal with it. And this is not the first time. Last year, there was another problem. A local business was upset that he didn't get a chance to bid on something, and it was a new manager in town that didn't understand the capability of that business, but didn't ask. So for us moving forward, like I said, we dropped the ball. We made a poor decision not including your business in the decision-making process. And for that, we're all very sorry. Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. Dale, I'm not going to throw this council under the bus nor the administration. I was probably more instrumental in the decision because I was running the deaccessioning. I will apologize to you personally, and I'll explain what I did where it was wrong. What I did when I was looking at the aspect of it being the equivalent of many, many estates and trying to figure out how to stage it and get it to go run smoothly, had the occasion of having, in the first phase, many museums come in, and they were looking at it, and it was, wow, hectic, because there's so little room in there and everything going on that I realized that I needed some experience. So I did take and Google. I know, no, this is where I'm apologizing to you. I Googled.
Sir, my profession in this town for 30 plus
Yep.
years is a professional auctioneer.
Yep.
Do you have that?
What?
We professionalized in estate sales, antique sales. That was our specialty in town for over 30 years.
And this is where I'm trying to say that I apologize to you. When I did Google, roughly 50 places come up, and for some reason yours didn't. But that doesn't excuse it. I should still have phoned you. I should have talked to you. I should have invited you out there. So I'm taking this on myself personally, that I need to apologize to you.
I not only blame you, I blame each and every councillor here. You are elected by the town for the people. Now, are you representing me as a person and a businessman in this town when you all did that?
When I made the recommendation, I didn't. I didn't.
No, and Councillor Barry doesn't. We are a council, and we made a bad decision trying to make the right decision. All we can do is apologize to you both, and I know, you already told me it doesn't put food on your table, and I understand that. I have been very lucky to run a business in this town for a lot of years and counted on the support of locals. And you are right, we do promote local. And there's no excuse for what happened. There really isn't. And as a council, we own this. This is our decision. And it was a poor decision.
My thing, Tim, Mr. Mayor, I can't even talk. I'm so upset at you guys. My wife would like to say a couple words and it'll come to me.
Okay. You want to use the podium, Gladys?
I think everybody can hear me. I got a loud voice.
Okay.
We're all good? It goes on my.
It should carry to the microphone. Unfortunately, unless the microphone's on,
Yeah, it's on.
the public can't hear.
All right, so I'll just give you guys a little background about our business and who we are, because obviously decisions were made, and maybe you don't really know who we are and what we are. We've been in business since 1986. We built our business on professionalism, honesty, integrity, supporting our customers and our community, which happens to be Vegreville. We built a new auction center, and we opened the doors in 2004. We used all the trades in building this building from Vegreville. Everybody that worked in that building was from Vegreville. We supported it full-heartedly. In 2014, National Film Board did an auction film on us, and we showcased Vegreville, including the Fair Parade. Talk about showcasing Vegreville. Fundraising and charity auctions include the Chamber of Commerce for years and years and years, Ducks Unlimited, St. Joseph's Hospital, the 4-H for many years, a pie auction and for the museum, I may add, the nurses' residence at the hospital, Queen Elizabeth School, and some of these, our staff donated their time, just like we donated ours. We advertise in the Vegreville Directory yearly, the Vegreville News Advertiser weekly. Members of the Auctioneers Association since 1996. Dale was the president of the Auctioneers Association. He is now the past president, and our son is now the president. So we really, really work hard on promoting the auction industry. Dale is also an instructor at the Auctioneer College of Alberta for many years. We are provincially licensed and bonded. We employ the staff from Vegreville and surrounding area. Donate and support this community, youth groups, schools, and have been true advocates of this community. It's unfortunate that we didn't get the same right back. Now, this company that you hired, are they bonded and licensed? How much of their money is staying in this community? They bought a hamburger, perhaps, tank of gas, and that's it. Our money stays here. Locally, supporting the youth that you people have had in our schools, in our organizations. All the fuel, groceries, machinery, parts, lumber, paint, you name it, vehicles, we buy here. We support this community. Support local is for everyone but the town of Vegreville, it seems. Not cool. Mr. Mayor, you said that you had an issue last year with a business, local business, that you dropped the ball on. It says slow learners. Second year in a row, you dropped the ball. Now, we're not asking if we got the job. We were asking for a chance at that job. We have done antique sales where people have come from Fort McMurray, from Grand Prairie, from Saskatchewan. Some of you have been at those sales. We laid it out very, very well. Our big thing was presentation. The ball was dropped. Big time. Yeah, I know, sorry. You took money from the people that we employ in our community. Not just us, but the people that we employ in our community. I'm not sure sorry's gonna cut it. I'm really not sure sorry's gonna cut it.
I know sorry isn't going to cut it, but what I'm trying to say is that please don't blame council or administration.
No.
I was wrong in not approaching you and taking it so that you actually came out and toured the museum and we had a discussion. That was my failure.
We just finished doing a sit.
Administration, I'm trying to say that I apologize to both of you. I dropped the ball. I'm the one that dropped the ball.
I get it, sir. However, there's lots of other people that could have steered it the other way. When you brought it to council, there could have been somebody that was an advocate for us, as we are for the town of Vegreville, and said, you know what, we have an auction company here in town. Let's give them a call.
They trusted me, and I dropped the
Well,
ball.
You did.
it's unfortunate that this has to come to this in order for businesses in this community to advocate for themselves to sustain their business here. It's unfortunate that that's how it has to be.
I guess my last point is to all of you. This is the third time in my life that I'm getting an apology from the town of Vegreville. Third time, maybe four. Sorry doesn't cut it, you guys. Sorry doesn't put groceries on my table or keep me in business. It just doesn't cut it. There has to be some kind of consequences, even for you guys. I suffered big time because of this sale loss. I can't get to my goal this year. What are you guys losing? Just another sorry? It doesn't do it, guys. Sorry just does not cut it.
Okay, well, moving forward,
One more thing, Tim.
okay, go ahead.
Again, I'm looking on Facebook this morning, yesterday. You guys are saying there's a $3,000 grant to make Vegreville shine. It's hard to shine when you guys are blackballing us.
Well, I appreciate that, Dale. And like I said, in our decision process, we made a bad decision. And it's nothing, and I'll guarantee you that I've talked to everybody here, it is not a personal against you guys. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, Gladys. I really am. And again, well, all we can try to do is get better at this. I mean, that's what we can do. Go ahead, Councillor Bullock.
I want to just say, just being a friend of yours for many years, I apologize on my behalf. I know you don't want to hear sorry from me. That's fine. Yes, I could have said something more, and I didn't. Obviously, I didn't, so I'm sorry as well. Whether you want to accept it or not, that's okay. We will try to move on and do better, obviously, but...
Well, I thank you guys for coming in, and everything that Gladys read, I don't think there's anybody here that doesn't know everything about you guys. And again, we can't change it. All we can do is try to get better at this. And we will have some policy in place before too long.
Can I ask a question? The company you hired, and I don't care
Who it is? Are they licensed and bonded? Are they members of the Auctioneers Association? Did you check that out? Okay. Okay.
Well, on a personal note, I know I let you both down, and I hope someday that you can see past that.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, Manager Tentition.
Good afternoon, Your Worship and Council. I'm here to do my quarterly progress report for Q4. So the first one we'll start with is the gravel at the landfill. That has been all hauled in. The roads have got gravelled at the landfill, and we got some left over to keep the roads in better shape than what they were. So now at least we can drive around there when it gets muddy, not like it was before, where you get into the wood pile. You still, when you back into the wood pile and stuff, because it's hard to, because any gravel we put there gets pushed when they push the wood, but at least the roadway to get there is decent now, so. And same with like the hydrovac pit and all that has been all gravel in that area, so now trucks can get in and out without sliding down a little bit of hill and stuff like that, so. I did go a little bit over budget. I had 25,000 budgeted, and it was 26 is what it come out to, and that was just basically the last load was more that when it come in, because I told them I wanted 1,000 metric ton, and so when I got to that, it was $1,000 over what I thought would have been coming in on the trucks, so that's why we're over on that number. Next one is the compactor cylinder, and that now actually the cylinder was delivered to the Public Works shop as of, I think, Friday last week it come in. So, and with that, we come in under budget. I had budgeted 24, and it come in at 19,000. And that's why the delay was, because if I would have got it from Packmore, where we get the bodies from, instead of from the supplier of the cylinder, it would have been $25,000. But because we went straight to the supplier, we had to wait for when he was building the cylinders to get one for Vegreville, and that when it come in at the $19,000. So I thought we could wait a little bit of time to get it and then save some money by doing that also. Next one is half ton for roads. That has all been completed, and that was budgeted 65,000. And with it all done with, we got the headache rack, all the box rails on it, and the box liner all done, and it's all equipped, and that come in at 60,500. So we're a little under budget in that one also. So I'll just like go a little bit into a progress report and give you on the fire pumper where we're at in that aspect for the new fire truck. And we were just in talks with Fort Garry, the fire chief, and protective services manager. We finalized some of the specs on it because we changed a couple things that we've seen in some trucks. And so now we're not going to go over what we were quoted, but we're looking at changing things around and maybe getting rid of one or two things to add something that might be more useful to us as we are going through it. And at this point, the chassis, they figure, should be coming in hopefully by the end of November, they said. So once that chassis hits Fort Garry, they'll let me know, and we'll have to pay for the chassis like we did with the last one. Pay for the chassis up front, and then as the truck gets built, we pay for the body and stuff after. And we should receive the truck by the third quarter of 2025, the way it's in the queue right now, so. The sweeper for the 2025 season, it has been secured, so we have a sweeper that we can rent, and we gotta take it for a minimum of 6 months, minimum of 3 months, sorry. But we figure we'll probably have it about 6 months. And with that, it's just a monthly rental. So if we decide after 5 months we don't need it anymore for the year, we can take it back instead of keeping it for the 6 months. And that, I know when I come in, I had a price about 15,000 a year, and now that's down to about 12,500 per month for the rental instead of 15,000. Once we got to the final aspects of all of it. The only thing with that is we still have to do any repairs that we cause. We'd have to repair it. If it's not an operator error, then they would look after the repairs, and we still have to look after maintenance, and the brooms and all that kind of stuff are all on us, just like with the other ones, so.
So when it goes back, we'll have to put new brooms on it no matter what?
The new brooms, and then they also go over it to make sure that everything is done. And they said sometimes they do charge us a little bit for if we didn't clean it good enough, if we didn't do, because we have to clean it up when we send it back and all that sort of stuff. And they said, but most of the time, they said in Fort Mac, for example, they rent 4 of them, and they said theirs come in sometimes about the $3,000 mark when they take it back to fix some minor things that they let go. But if we keep up the maintenance, we should be able to stay ahead of it. We just have to do our due diligence to keep on all the maintenance and make sure we clean it properly when it goes back. And that's with new brooms, with everything, yes, correct. And for the next is the 2 batwing mowers for parks. We have those secured, so, but with that, it's a little different. They're on a 3-year lease, so we'll have these things for 3 years. And what it does is it comes in at $22,076.12 per year. So for the both of them, it'd be about the $46,000 to rent both of them for 1 year, and that's on a 3-year lease we have to have them for. Then at the end of 3 years, we give them back, and if we decide to keep leasing, then we lease some more and keep going with it, so. And will be here, because we have them secured, will be here about April. And the same thing with the sweeper, we will be able to, it'll be ready for us to pick up in April, so.
So, Manager Timtition, the sweeper stays in Vegreville when it's not being leased or goes back?
No, it goes back to the company when we're, at the end, when we're done with it and not gonna feel we don't need it anymore, it will go back to the company.
And we will rent them another one, a new one again the following year?
Correct, yes.
And on the lawnmowers, the same policy, they go back once a year, or we have to store them?
No, we store them for the 3 years. We have
We
to,
perform all the maintenance on them?
and all that, correct, yes. Yes.
So I would imagine there will be some extra units. Would we keep one of our old mowers here?
I haven't talked to manager Dan Kuzmic about that yet, but we did discuss that we might be keeping one of them and letting one go, but we haven't decided which one yet or anything like that. We haven't got that much into detail about it this time, so.
Okay, so then the policy to unload the sweeper and some other equipment would probably clean them up nice and
Yes.
send them off to an auction.
Correct, yes.
Any other questions? Do you know about Manager Newton's little project that he's trying to build, a 1-ton truck?
I heard rumors about it, but I have not been approached about it.
So we have a fire apparatus, but we have no truck to pull it.
Correct, they got that remote, that little skid that goes in the back of the truck. Yes, that is too heavy to go into the back of half ton with the weight that it carries, yes.
So we had a meeting with our MLA, and he had said that at previous municipalities he was at, is that their MLA had secured something from the government of Alberta's excess older vehicles. And, but she had asked, well, if you can show me how that happened, maybe I could help you out. But with his research up to now, he hasn't been able to track anything down that this MLA had made this happen. Do you know what type of truck we need, or, like, I just think that if we have an apparatus and we can't use it, I mean, is there a project in here for the fire department if we were to buy something used and maybe see what we could do with it? Is it a 1-ton dually that you think we need, or?
Actually, just a 1-ton single axle will do it. It doesn't have to be a dually, just for the weight load. It's got to be a 1-ton truck for the spring capacities and stuff like that, yes, so.
Okay.
And you just have to rig it up, put the skid inside, mount it in the box and stuff like that, and then equip it with lights and all that kind of stuff. But it can be done. It is feasibly possible to do it, for sure, yes.
Where does the water supply come from for this?
It's got its own little pump on it, and you can draft out of a pond or something with it, or you fill it off of one of the pumpers on the scene or something like that. That's where it comes from, so.
So it's mostly used for like grass fires and stuff like that? Is it what we'd be using this piece for? Or?
Grass fires and bush fires and all that kind of stuff, yes.
Okay.
Field fires, like out in the fields also.
I don't know if council is aware of this right now. Yeah, we received this, and it's a brand-new piece of equipment.
Yeah.
But we just don't have a truck to mount it on. So what Manager Newton was trying to do is secure something from the government of Alberta that would be appropriate. You know, maybe he's got a few miles on it or something, but we could spend a little time, a little energy, maybe wrap it or something, and have it set up so that it could carry this apparatus. I don't think we're going to get any further with our MLA, although Manager Newton did tell me that Alberta Innotech has a piece right now that they'll be sending back to the surplus supply for the government of Alberta. Wonder if we shouldn't reach out and see what they have over there. And then maybe we could contact the right minister and on our own and see if we could maybe make that work. And I'm sure it would be a great project to take on for the firefighters. They're all mechanics.
Yes.
Right, Jameson? But if we could, Sandra, CAO Ling, get a hold of Manager Newton and see what he found out from Alberta Tech. If there's a vehicle there, maybe we could make some phone calls about that.
Sure. Sounds good.
Any other questions? So the new half-ton, oh, sorry.
Well, sorry, it's not a question. I just wanted to make a comment from the landfill. I actually had the opportunity to be there recently, and I just wanted to say, like, over the years, obviously, you know, as we all do the spring and the fall cleanups, I saw a real substantive difference over how things have been, particularly on the safety side. And I think that a number of the changes that have been made really are. We always talk safety about going up the hill, but even I just noticed with some of the configuration you have and where people are being sent to, the sight lines that you would have to know what people are doing there, potentially even if somebody has kids helping them, that they're not in positions where other big equipment is coming up. I just want to say I thought that was there's some really good improvements there over the years, and I think it's worth noting, and I know that's not exactly the place that everybody always gives a lot of compliments to is at the landfill, but I think there's been some real big steps to make sure that things are safer and set up better.
Thank you.
Okay, well, there's no more questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stop. Director Lefebvre.
Thank you, Worship. I'm going to ask Manager Temptation to just wait as we talk about circular materials compensation offer that we've received as he is manager of the materials recovery facility and our solid waste program. So the topic is circular materials compensation offer for recycling residential single-use products, packaging, and paper products. So the EPR program, the Extended Producer Responsibility Program, is coming into effect beginning of 2025, and they're ramping up quite quickly this year with agreements with all the municipalities. They've spent a few years collecting data and information as far as what we recycle, how much we recycle, how much we feel is commercial, how much is residential, and 2025 will be the kickoff of their program. But their program, we have to remember, is starting out just based on residential paper products and packaging. That's where the program is going to start. And the idea is that if we don't have an established recycling program in a community in the province, then this company that the province has joined forces with will do that recycling for the community if they have none. On the other hand, what we've negotiated, us and several other communities in the province that are set up and have an established recycling program, that they would compensate our operations and we continue to do the recycling as we have in 2024, the same as in 2025, only with an additional compensation. And remember, this compensation is just for residential paper and packaging products. Example, you go to the store and you buy your Christmas presents, you open them and they got the cardboard box that Barbie come in and the basketball come in this and your tie wraps come in something else. That's the products they're talking about right off the start. So I'll get into the background. Each year, Alberta municipalities collect and process 197,600 tons of recyclable packaging and paper products from households at a cost of about $107 million. It was estimated in 2019 as Alberta recycling studies have been carried out, and they carry them out often. One of the first systems of the new Extended Producer Responsibility, the EPR framework, is single-use products, packaging, and printed paper products, PPP, and PPP includes the following materials from the residential sector: paper products such as newspapers, packaging, cardboard, printed paper and magazines, plastic, both rigid and flexible, metal and glass. Alberta's EPR framework does not include PPP from the industrial, commercial, or institutional sectors. PPP materials regulated under existing stewardship programs. Beverage containers, electronics, paint, tires, and used oil materials are also not included in EPR as they have their own programs with them. Alberta Recycling Management Authority, which we say is ARMA, as the oversight body for Alberta's EPR regulations, will be the center information hub for EPR. Over the last year, the Municipal Services Department has been providing detailed information on the town's recycling program to both ARMA and Circular Materials, the only registered producer responsibility organization in Alberta. So the province has teamed with and hired a producer responsibility organization, which we call a PRO. That's a for-profit business, is my understanding, that is going to run this program for ARMA. And it says that it's the only registered producer responsibility organization in Alberta, so there's no competition. We have PRO, this is the PRO, the Circular Materials, and that's who the province has. So a producer responsibility organization, PRO, is a business established to contract with producers to help them meet the regulatory obligations under the EPR regulation. Producers of EPR materials are responsible for meeting mandatory collection, management, and promotion and education requirements. Circular Materials has put together a compensation offer for the town of Vegreville's residential recycling collection, which the PRO refers to as curbside collection. As you know, in Vegreville, only those residents that don't have rear lanes have a curbside collection, and the majority of the town is the rear pickup. But still, when they talk about curbside pickup, it's not just our curbside, it encompasses it all, because it's a percentage of what we're collecting. Circular Materials has calculated the town of Vegreville's compensation amount at $3.46 per household per month. Circular Materials requires that council formally approve administration entering into agreement with them for this compensation amount before October 31st, 2024, and that agreements be reviewed and signed by November 29th of this year. It is important to note that this is only the first agreement for compensation. Throughout the remainder of the EPR rollout, we should be seeing proposals for processing the materials and proposals regarding household and specific products. So the hazardous and special projects is another avenue they're going to head down once we've got the residential part rolling in on stream. So for now, with the residential portion, Circular Materials will pay the town approximately $102,000 per year to continue collecting residential paper products. And that means collection and the processing and baling, correct?
That is just collection.
So they're paying us for collection, we will still be processing.
Processing,
That's what
yes.
yeah. Okay, so I'm glad you're here. So the $102,000 per year is for us doing the collection for this residential portion. So upon council approval of the compensation amount, the Municipal Services Department will contact Circular Materials to inform them so that they can send us an agreement for review. And the two options are council instructs administration to bring this request to the next regular council meeting for hopeful approval, or council requests further review and revisions of the proposed compensation amount prior to approval. So this is the beginning of the program. We expect to see changes in the next few years as the program carries on. I will make note that Alberta is the last province in Canada to start an EPR program. They felt it was a good thing, they're saying, because they've seen some provinces put in certain ways of doing things that needed some work, didn't work as well, and then also what did work well. So they feel that with all the other provinces going first, they've been able to pick the best of the programs that are out there.
So there's really no downfall to this for us. There's no different level of separation of products that we do. Everything that we do right now complies to what their expectations are.
Right, and obviously when they first started this program, when Tony and Brian and I were at the last session where all the groups were together, we were looking for other pros, other producer responsibility organizations, because if they're willing to pay this $3.46 per household per month, was there competition? Was there someone else? And that's what we're hunting for. And at this point, that Circular Economies is the only show in the province for. And for us, we've been doing this for a lot of years with no compensation, and now that the program's in place, we're seeing this compensation start at approximately 102,000 per, right towards our operation at the VEMR for collection. So it's, for us, it's a good thing, and we're excited to see the program manifest and get bigger and cover the household special hazard products. Hopefully commercial gets into this, so it could be good for us.
Yeah. Because we're sort of alone in this. Oh, sorry, Councillor Bullock, go ahead.
I just, excuse me, just wondering, do you see any changes we're gonna have to make at the VEMR for anything, or?
Not at the VRIF. The only thing I'm gonna have to change is some of my routing so that I pick up just businesses that by themselves and residential by themselves. Because right now we're commingled with some, where we'll pick up some businesses and then some residential. So it's just a little bit of logistics to change the routes a little bit, but it's nothing too major to do that, so.
Is that gonna, that add more time to what they're doing now, or is it gonna just restructure it and?
It would just be restructuring. I don't foresee any time we just have to, when we design it, we just have to make sure it's efficient when we design the routes that we're gonna put them on, right? So.
So right now, what Manager Timtition has done is taking, I would assume, an average based on what we haul, to give them numbers so that we could estimate what our residential PPP amount is. And by doing what he wants to do now, which is to specifically try and get a lot of residential and then do that volume and then commercial, we can get an accurate number for residential. Maybe this number is going to change in our favor.
Go ahead, Councillor.
Yeah, I had two questions. This is an interesting change in our process, and good to see that dollars are attached to the plus side of waste management, not the reduction. I'm just curious about the $346 per household. You touched on that a little bit. I'd be curious to know what that looks like moving forward, because as it stands right now, this is speculative based on X number of households. We don't have a number of multiple family dwellings in the community, but I'm curious how that will be compensated. But I'd also be curious in the future too, because we've always been very diligent on our waste diversion, that it would be based on the weight or the amount that we produce, not just on the household. So I'm wondering if that contract is meant for a short time, a long time. I mean, this is all fairly new, so maybe you don't have an answer about that, but I'd be curious about those two details.
I believe the program in its infancy, we're going to have that information come to us. We don't know right now.
When we say household, would one apartment building be one household?
When we did the numbers and sent in the application, the multiple dwellings were all included in the household numbers. So we went through Statistics Canada, what was on there for our numbers for residential households with multiple dwellings and stuff, and that's the number we give them off our Statistics Canada information that we had, so, and that's what we went with. And also with this is, we also signed up to go on the processing side. So once we start, they're doing the curbside first, and they're gonna look at the processing. So once they get into the processing, that's when it'll get more into the weights of the bales and all that kind of stuff, because then we're doing the processing of it also. This is just pick up and dropped off at the VMRF at the present time is what it is, so.
Excellent. Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Worship. I think you're partially answering most of my questions. I was wanting to try and figure out if the monies that come would adjust if we were picking up more material. But I think you're kind of explaining that gets adjusted.
Yes.
So the only other thing is, does the town still sell the material and make profit off of what is collected and processed?
At the present time, yes, because we are doing our own processing.
Okay.
I don't know what the agreement will look like when it comes to the processing side of it. That'll be something that we'll be going through the same process on the processing side to get some numbers and that and see where they come back with that number. This has been in the work for a while, and I was always after them because they wouldn't give me a firm number, and I says I don't want to be going to council without a firm number, so I have some kind of dollar value to give you. So we pushed them hard to get the numbers in so we could get a dollar value to get you. But like I said, this is just curbside, just collection.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. So we'll have a decision to make on Monday?
And this is them asking council approval on this, because typically administration would advise council of this, and then we would do it, but they're asking that we include council's formal decision in joining up, so.
Well, we'll see how that goes.
Might be contentious.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Next up, Director Saskew.
Thank you, Worship. Here I have a memorandum to council, and the topic is,
Sorry, excuse me, I have to recuse myself from this portion of the meeting.
Okay.
okay, sorry about that. So the topic is policy FIN 6008, small business subclass. The proposal is to approve policy FIN 6008, small business subclass. So this policy establishes formal guidelines and processes for small business property subclass in accordance with bylaw number 08/2021, small business subclass bylaw. The policy is up for review and no changes have been made to the policy itself other than an updated small business submission form which is attached and some just minor formatting changes. So the financial implications of this is that policy FIN 6008 in conjunction with bylaw number 08/2021 will provide tax relief to qualified small businesses. The tax rate set for this property, referred to as small business properties, must not be less than 75% of the tax rate established for other non-residential property and must not be greater than the tax rate for non-residential property. This rate is set by council annually in a separate motion. So we're not setting the rate here. This is simply looking at the policy. And the communication is policy FIN 6008, small business subclass, will be posted on our website and circulated to business owners. So options are that the town council review this policy and provide recommendations for changes to administration, or town council review FIN 6008 and approve the recommendation to bring to the next council meeting for adoption.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, well, if not, we'll see this on Monday.
Okay, excellent.
Excellent, thank you. You have a tax sale.
Pardon me, I forgot I had this one. So this is another memorandum to council. For Councilor Bullock, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is a memorandum regarding the 2024 tax sale. So the tax sale was held on October 21st, 2024, so yesterday at 10 a.m. in council chambers of this room. The tax sale included the two following properties: tax roll 008800, and it had a reserve bid of 73,100, and tax roll 073500, which also had a reserve bid for 114,700. There was no one that showed up, so we received no bids for these properties. As a result, the town of Vegreville will be submitting documentation to the Land Titles Office for the transfer of titles as tax forfeiture. So as of right now, we don't technically own them. Once we have the official rights from Land Titles, that's when we can take action on getting keys and entrance into these properties.
Okay, any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, CAO Ling.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. First up is a correspondence from the Vegreville Food Bank Society. It says, I understand the town of Vegreville mayor and council volunteered with a food bank last year by picking up food at No Frills and Walmart and delivering it to the food bank. I'm not sure if Joanna has arranged for help with pickups and deliveries from the town of Vegreville again in 2024, but I am wondering if it would be possible for this November and December. And then there's the schedule for both months. And it says, please let me know as soon as possible if the town of Vegreville would like to help out one or both of these months. Thanks so much, Linda Wilkinson, coordinator for the Vegreville Food Bank Society. And since this letter was written to us on October 15th, the food bank has contacted us, and November's spots have been filled. So council would be looking at December's dates if they are interested in participating again this year.
Yeah, I don't see why not. There's only 3 spots. Oh. Okay, well, don't everybody jump up and down, try to butt in front of each other here. Yes, we'll take them on.
Okay, I will get our legislative administrator to send you guys the dates, and you can let her know who's available for which times. And we will contact the food bank and let them know that council will take the month of December.
Thank you very much. And next up, Vegreville Minor Hockey.
Yes, next up, we have a correspondence from Minor Hockey, and it says, good afternoon. I am writing you to let all of you know that the Vegreville and District Minor Hockey Association is attempting to host the 2025 Provincial Championship Tournament from March 20th to 23rd, 2025. One hurdle that stands in our way is getting the town of Vegreville endorsement. This tournament will likely bring in approximately 750 people into the town that weekend, which would be a huge win for our community. With this many people coming into our community for the weekend, this could be a huge boost to the local economy, around $100,000 to $125,000. People will need accommodations, meals, groceries, fuel, and hopefully visit as many town-operated facilities as possible, including the Pesinka. Our goal would be to host an amazing experience for all the families attending the tournament and financially have a surplus to decrease registration fees for our members, provide training and development for our players and coaches, continue to purchase new equipment, and give back to the community. For example, and not limited to, a donation to Kids Sport. There will be teams coming from 5 leagues: Central Alberta Hockey League, which is the biggest league in our province, Hockey Calgary, Hockey Edmonton, North Peace Hockey League, and the league that your Wranglers play in, Northeast Alberta Hockey League. There will be a total of 8 teams from where we will not know until early March. We have currently assembled a host committee, which is chaired by myself and with the directors as follows. It says you may know some or most of us, but we would encourage you to reach out and maybe attend one of our upcoming meetings, which run weekly every Wednesday, with our last meeting on November 13th, 2024, 2 days before we need to submit our bid package to Hockey Alberta. We look forward to hearing from you, and hopefully together we can bring this tournament to our amazing town and maybe, just maybe, win a provincial championship at home. Thank you, Trevor Warwa, Development Director of VDMHA.
Excellent. So, any thoughts? Go ahead, Councillor Warwick.
So I just start, the last time they actually had provincials would have been 2016, I believe, and I was president at the time. And yes, certainly part of the package when you're submitting is supposed to be a letter from the town. Of course, I know that there's a lot of scrambling with the packages, so if there's a way that we could get that to them sooner than later, that is always helpful. I do remember from the last time, and of course, you can't know exactly where the different towns are from, but usually it's fair to say that you probably have at least 5 of those teams staying from out of town. And one of the requirements, of course, was that your accommodations had to be within the 100 kilometers. That was one of the challenges we had originally, and we applied when there was space available. So I know that it kept people in town. Everything was really booming, was really busy. People enjoyed being able to come. There was a lot of people in the stands that didn't, from our community, that didn't come typically because it was something nice to come watch. A lot of grandparents from other communities as well. Now, of course, they will do it however they had planned. I do know at the time we had utilized the social center, had a bit of a banquet, which also was used. We basically contracted another local business in town to provide that banquet and that meal. And just overall, it was a really good event. I remember the pools being very full, and I just think it can be very, very nice. And from the recollection, I don't believe that a lot of extra things were asked of the town, other than, of course, it is a long weekend for town staff, and there's a lot of people around. I believe access to Wi-Fi was one other thing that's needed just for inputting games and whatnot, but it's very minimal disruption for what showcases your town very well. So I hope we are able to endorse it, and I hope they're successful in their bid, because I think it showcases your community.
Well, I guess. So, we should draft a letter in support of this event. Jameson, what are your thoughts regarding our tourism people? Maybe help out a little bit with attend a meeting or something and see what their other needs might be, or where are you at?
Yeah, I actually have been in contact with one of the members of the organizing committee. He had sent me a text message 2 weeks ago asking for a little bit more information in terms of background on the town, just to help them with their application. At that point, I also made sure that I mentioned that they would certainly be eligible for the local sports and event hosting grant, given the magnitude of a tournament like this. And then I was reached out to by the same individual asking if I'd be willing to join the committee. And, obviously depending on when the meetings are going to be held and the extent of them, I would certainly be willing to take part in a few of the meetings as a liaison between that organization and the town.
You don't feel our tourism
Well, Michelle would certainly be a great fit, our tourism coordinator, given the fact that she also, I believe, has children associated with minor hockey. And I believe, if not this year, certainly last year, she was a tournament host. So she understands the ins and the outs probably better than I do. It's been a long time since I played minor hockey.
I just know what's on your desk every day. So we do have somebody that's in charge of tourism. And so we'll go ahead and get that letter drafted up. I'll try to make a meeting or two just to sit in to see where they're at, and because it would be another great event for our community for sure.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Hopefully I was gonna book some hotel rooms for that weekend, but I will change my date to the weekend before, I guess, for a Bonspiel.
There's not gonna be a lot of rooms.
No. Okay, well, that's really good news, and, good on Vegreville Minor Hockey, so. Any other comments? Okay. Next up, I have a letter from Canadian Legion. Once again, the Royal Canadian Legion in Vegreville is busy preparing for the November 11th ceremony for 2024. And it would be a great honor to have your participation during this special event. As in previous years, it will be held indoors at the Social Center. Last year, we had over 600 community members and military personnel attend the ceremony. Those participating in the march to the Social Center will gather at the branch with the doors opening at 9 a.m. We will be forming up in front of the Legion at 10:15 and stepping off at 10:30. We ask everyone be seated by 10:45, and the ceremony will start at 11 a.m. If you wish to lay a wreath this year, please indicate this by completing the attached form, indicating the size of the wreath and your intentions to lay it at the ceremony. Your generosity and caring for this campaign has been truly appreciated, and we hope you will be able to attend this year. As an option, you can choose to email us your form and e-transfer the payment to the email below. An indication of your participation will be required no later than October 31st, 2024, so we can include you in our program. Please ensure you include your email address as well as issuing all receipts via email. We will be issuing all receipts via email. Signed, Terry Kuzik, President of the Legion. Well, we will definitely be laying a wreath.
We have already ordered the wreath and informed them that you will be laying a wreath at the ceremony.
All right. One less decision. Well, hopefully we can all make it on that day. Hopefully the weather's good for those marching, so. Okay. Well, we'll head into our round table, and we are going to start with Councillor Lemko today.
Thanks, Your Worship. I don't have a lot happening. I had a couple of residents ask about the homelessness in our community. And one gentleman who said he was taking the recycle to the recycle depot behind Dairy Queen, and he noticed a gentleman sleeping on the bench, wrapped in a blanket. He was concerned with what happens when it gets cold. And had another gentleman say he went to the Bank of Montreal to get some money early in the morning, and there was a young fella sleeping in the foyer. So as you drive around the community, you notice there's a lot of people who are new to town and seem to be walking or in disarray. So it's a sign of the times, and I'm sure we'll start seeing some challenges being faced to our FCSS and those kind of things as winter's coming. That's all I got.
Thank you very much. Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. Actually, I don't have anything to report today.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Curtis.
Thank you very much. For me, just going off of what Councillor Lemko had said, the Housing and Basic Needs Task Force had reached back out to me and Councillor Warawa. Again, we were on that when it first had started. They have an update for us, or they have some things they want to talk about. So there's a Zoom meeting coming up on tomorrow. So I'm going to try and make it. I don't know if you're available to make it, but they did.
I'm going to attempt to jump into it. Yeah.
So I was hoping at least one of us would make it to see what's happening there. I did some volunteering, dropping off at the food bank, where I talked to Linda Wilkinson, who was one of the coordinators there. And I was talking to her about how they always say that there's more need and more use of the food bank. One thing that they're doing now is to make sure that the people that are coming are in need. I think that they're asking for IDs, so identification of how many people in your house, to ensure that people are, on the up and up when they're requesting this, as well as I believe that they're going to be asking for income going forward, to make sure that people are using it that are needing it, because they've heard the same stories that we have happened in Ontario, where people were using the food bank when they didn't need it. I think it was actually students from overseas that were taking advantage of people that were just being generous. And they want to make sure that the usage or how much more it's being needed is in fact correct, and that'll make a better determination going forward as to what is actually happening in the town. So I thought that was good. Nothing wrong with checks and balances. And the other thing that I had was a feel-good story, which came out of our meeting last night for the tourism board. I'm not going to read the whole entire letter, but the gist of it is that a couple down in Airdrie got a hold of the Go East of Edmonton magazine and traveled up north and east to go see what was going on. And they happened into Vegreville to see the Pysanka, and they have a bit of Ukrainian heritage in their family. And they were here for the country fair, and 3 days later, they sold their house in Airdrie and they moved to Vegreville. They liked the town that much, the small town feel, and they thought it was a great place. So that was a pretty cool story I just wanted to share with everybody.
Thank you. Councillor Bullock.
Well, for me, probably one of the calls I took was from our delegation today, so that was one of them that we talked about today. And I also had a call, actually contacted this morning about just the nice to know had we seen the subdivision on the west end that they're having a land auction. So we said yes, so we acknowledged that we'd seen that. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor.
I have had not a lot of phone calls, but I did want to share some information. There have been a lot of elections happening across the country, and Nova Scotia had, well, that's a provincial election, but Nova Scotia had municipal elections, and so the president of FCM, Jeff from Colchester County, lost his bid for the mayor's seat, so that means First Vice President Rebecca Bly from Vancouver has moved up to the president's role for FCM. So unfortunately, Jeff Stewart lost his bid on Saturday, and so unfortunately he will not continue in that position. So
That's my mom's riding.
it is. It is. It was a very close race for the mayoral seat. And of course, as you referenced, New Brunswick and BC both had provincial elections, and Saskatchewan is soon to follow, as well as municipal elections. So there's elections happening all over the place, but just wanted to remind any folks here that are paying attention that everything continues to move along with FCM, although I did have a few questions whether or not I would come back, and I said, nope, that's not how it works. You don't get to reach into the past and find somebody to come back. I was asked to present at the Ukrainian Canadian Congress Alberta Provincial Council 50th anniversary. And listening to the news reports, I wasn't able to attend the last council meeting, so unfortunate that I wasn't able to be here to celebrate with some of the recipients of the award. But this conference is focused on strength and unity, together building community, linking new evacuees from Ukraine, as well as the Ukrainians that have lived here for many generations. And political leadership is the panel that I'm speaking on, with former Minister Tyler Shandro, former Minister Darren Billis, somebody named Tanine from Vegreville, and Alyssa Stoddard, who's a youth leader. So I'll be looking to Jameson potentially to provide some assistance for a little bit extra, because they want the speakers to provide a little bit of a display on the table. So I might ask for some Vegreville material to bring with me and represent Vegreville at that conference. So be looking forward to representing Vegreville there.
You're not gonna bake one of those special loaves of bread with the braiding and stuff in it?
I'm sure they have a session on that, and I was not asked to do that for some reason.
Okay, Council, thank you very much, Councilor Morva.
I actually only had one outreach, which was from one of the groups that had put in for the provincial hockey, just asking some former items on that. And I just wanted to make a note on something Councillor Lemko had said, because I am hoping to be able to jump into that housing Zoom tomorrow just to see a little bit of what they were saying, because we had a conversation with some other food banks in my daytime role, as well as some communities. And it is interesting as you go towards the winter and people are looking for kind of warmer, safer locations. The flip side of that is then sometimes what we're seeing is some businesses then actually closing. So there's several communities in surrounding areas that have stopped, having open doors to, say, their post offices after hours, as well as even some of their ATMs. That is happening. So that's, kind of a negative consequence that can come on the other side. So I'm kind of looking forward to maybe getting that update. But that's all I had.
Okay, thank you very much. So, of course, I was contacted by Dale and Gladys, and I'm glad they came today to vent their frustrations with our decision. And again, we need to own those decisions and do better, and we will create some policies. Like I said, not to say that when we're looking for goods and services, we will do a little better job than that for sure, but it's not to say that we won't be looking at price and past experiences and good standing with the town, and we'll create a good policy here. And I know that Senior Min is already working on this right now. So on a lighter note, I really appreciate all the feedback I've got from town regarding the Vegreville and Area Stands With Ukraine, the award, and there's a lot of people in this community that need to be proud of the efforts they put forward, and it's okay to take a moment and feel good about what you've accomplished. So it's a really good story. So, and that's what I have. let's move on to director highlights, and we're gonna start with Director Saskew, even though alphabetically it could be wrong, but.
Thank you, Your Worship. You know what, I feel like being like Paul Casey, I got nothing, but I do have a few things. Working on budget, obviously, so capital and operating budget, doing extensive work on that, in conjunction with looking at our 2024 grants, predicting what our carry forward will be into the 2025 year for capital. So there's some things with that. We also have some leftover grants that we have from like MSI that we have to figure out where those allocations are going. In the office, we had Jaskaran, who started in accounts payable. He's been here for a full week now, so he started right after the Thanksgiving long weekend. So that has worked out really well, and we welcome him to our team. And our utilities position closed on Friday, so we're in the process of reviewing resumes and looking at that, getting that position filled as well. So one step closer to being fully staffed. And that's really all I have right now. Other meetings that I've had recently are meetings with Shine Tech for our IT services, planning into 2025. Had a benefits meeting with Alberta Munis, so finally some good news. Our benefits increases aren't at 20 and 30% anymore. We're at 7% on just one line item, which is, I believe, AD&D and long-term disability. So those are much smaller premiums than our extended health. So that has remained stable this year. And other than that, the tax sale that was held yesterday.
Thank you very much. Any questions of Director Saskew? We get off easy.
I was going to say, I get out the hot seat. Thank you.
Let's see about Director Lefebvre.
See, now they got nothing. I do have some director highlights. I'd like to talk about the Force Main project, our sewer lift station upgrade. The pressure testing, we finished it on Sunday for 95% of the 2.8 kilometer run. We have about 100 meters left. That would be the manifold in the last chunk right at the sewer lift station. So we'll get that out of the road this week. 100% of the work is completed at the lagoon system as far as structures and the splitter manholes in the chambers. The vaults are all in. We're still, this week, we're going to connect and get away from the bypass pumping at the lagoon and go into the chamber and start using that so we can get our primary cells and a facultative cell filled up. This is working out good because before we hit cold weather in the winter, we'll have our levels back up, everything will be flowing like it's supposed to. So that's good. They will be, New Edge will be setting up construction this week to start that manifold in the last 100 meters outside the sewer lift. And when that is done the following week, we will start with the bypass pumping, where we're going to take the effluent from the closest inlet at the sewer lift and pump it into the new sewer line and pump it all the way up into the sewer, into the lagoon system. And then that will give us ample time to change all the valves, check valves, flow meters, and bring everything up to 2024. So that project is going well. The project tender price, I'll give you a financial. I've given you two in the past. I'll give you another one now as we near closer to the end of the project. Total contract budget total was 3.83 million. We have used up 2.9 million of the tender total. We've used up 106,000 roughly of contingency. That's out of 175,000 contingency. And engineering and testing, we're at about 114,000. What this means is that the project remaining total budgeted amount is about 710,000. We expect to spend about 650 to 670,000 to finish this project. So yes, we're coming in just under budget, just nicely. And that's even the fact that we had to use some of our contingency to work the splitter manholes around the primary cells. Were a little worse than we thought once we opened them up. So we had to, and that's what it's there for, to get it done right. So we're really happy with the project. We're happy with the pace that they have going. And we'll be done before the end of this construction year. We should be done by in November sometime. Any questions on that project?
When there'll still be a holdback on this project for a while, correct?
Yeah, currently right now the holdback's over 300,000 so far.
Okay. Any questions?
Okay, the equipment storage building, as you know, we're in the process of going as quick as we can to get the storage building moved to the landfill. That's a lot of permitting, a lot of engineering, building movers, Alberta transportation approvals. We have to run services, we have to run gas, we have to run power to this building. The last run that we got was to upgrade the lighting in the building because the lighting that's there is old and a style of, I think it's a high-pressure sodium that takes a while to fire up and get going. The mover just said they won't survive the trip. So we're getting estimates on, or quoting pricing now on LED. A new heating system, radiant heat system is going in because it's currently slab heating. And the screw piles are in. The building permit has been approved. And tomorrow our contractor is going to start forming to get the concrete down. And then we will have to tie that in with the servicing and then with the building mover. Appreciate we have to give the concrete, you know, we would like to give it 28 days to cure before we put something like a building on top of it, but we'll get that going as we can. So we're making progress, and we're, you know, happy to think that in by the end of November we'll be in with everything connected and ready to go. So it is going. That's quick in the house moving business apparently. What else have I got? Oh, Monday morning of next week, we will start the MCC cabinet replacement for our West ELRC or water distribution station. So we've done the tests, we've had them come in and confirm that the conduit that goes underneath the foundation of the building is accessible and things will move. So we can power up the new MCC, they'll have everything set. We've finished the valve work at the pump house, that was successful. So we're filling that back up, and then while we're doing this job we've given it 2 days, full days to do this project. Should be done in one, but we give ourselves an extra day, and we'll just simply run off of the pump house reservoir for the duration of the MCC cabinet replacement. And that's my update, other than budget. She's very busy with budget. I'm pretty busy, but she's very busy.
So the valve replacement project at the pump house, it wasn't, no surprises, everything went good there?
No, it went good. We had the divers come in and put a bladder in the reservoir, and they fill it up with air into the intake, so then we could disconnect the valve and replace 2 valves actually. And then when we were done, the only thing we weren't sure is once we remotely let the air out from the roof of the reservoir, if we could jiggle that bladder out or have to call the divers back, and Jorgen was able to wiggle jiggle and get it to pop out, so we're back in business. So.
And that pump house has full SCADA capability now? That's all complete?
That will be coming. We have to start with the MCC system first. Okay. We can read the pump house currently, so we can get levels and things on it now, but it's not a full SCADA.
Okay. Any questions? Well, it's nice to get that job done at the pump house and the water tower. And
yep.
It's a very important piece of infrastructure that we have there. So, okay, thank you very much, Director Lefebvre. Let's move on to CAO highlights.
Well, I don't have much, and it's because budget has taken up a lot of, well, it takes up everybody's time. It's taken up a lot of time. Did the Regional Recreation Feasibility Study Steering Committee meeting. Also had a bi-weekly meeting with OCL. We meet and just go through a few things before it goes to the committee. Sat in on the Chinatech meeting with Director Saskew, and that's about it, other than whatever crosses my desk on that day.
Whatever blows up that morning.
That's correct. But that's all I've got.
Any questions for the CAO? Okay, well, if there's no other further business of council, we do have one closed session item. So I'll take a motion to go into closed session. Councilor Curtis makes the motion at 4:20. All those in favor? Carried.